I don't really know how many of you guys know this about me, but I'm actually a really big Pokemon fan. But I've kind of kept this in secrecy for a bit, I think, because there just hasn't been really any Pokemon content or anything that I have enjoyed. Again, I actually bought a Nintendo Switch to play the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. They weren't exactly what I was particularly hoping for, and I kind of realized while I was playing them, I felt too old to be doing this. I don't know why. But obviously, I've kept in touch with Pokemon, been seeing what they've been doing over the years, which I don't think has been particularly too much. But one thing really caught my eye, like, I think it's probably like 5 years ago at this point, and it was actually the live-action Detective Pikachu movie. Again, I've been telling myself every year I need to watch it, but then every year I hear one or two people that have watched it, and it's always a different opinion on. Someone will say it's good, someone will say it's bad, and then I'll just watch an Abella Danger video instead. I don't really know what I've been doing, but I always thought it was cool that they tried to go with live action Pokemon, and I've been wondering ever since where the content has been, because I didn't think particularly Detective Pikachu had been a failure at any point, but Daniel RPK, one of the biggest reporters who breaks all the news on so many different things, actually came out and said that a Pokemon live-action TV show at Netflix is reportedly still in development. The show will focus on the character Red. Now, this is fantastic news because, again, as I said, I love Pokemon, alright? I don't know if I fucking said that in this video, but I love Pokemon. Or did. I don't know anymore, but I was obviously a big Diamond Pearl / Platinum fan, big X and Y fan, a big Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire fan, and I guess Pokemon Go, I don't know, I played that a fair bit too. Again, I would say I've played all the Pokemon games until Heart, Sun, Moon, whatever the fuck they were called. I don't remember. I played them and I didn't like them, so I never played any Pokemon ever again, really. But I was always a big fan of the anime too, and one Pokemon project that I specifically remember that stood above all the others does actually happen to be Pokemon Origins. Again, this was a TV show, I believe, that aired in 2013, or a little short mini-series show. And essentially, it was really cool. Whoever decided to make it absolutely cooked. They basically had the plot of the original Pokemon Red and Green games, and basically had them in live action, but modernized them up, had some newer modern Pokemon in it, and actually had the Mega evolution from X and Y. They actually decided to put that in the show, and I think if I remember right, Red's Charizard actually Mega evolves into whatever the Mega Charizard was, and it was so cool. I just remember, like, nearly fucking having a massive orgasm while watching that shit, like, growing up. That was peak fiction, right? And I was just thinking, if this show is going to be taking place on Red, wouldn't it be absolutely awesome if they actually used Pokemon Origins as, like, the landscape of what this show is, adapted that, and then obviously put it into live action, and then, you know, like back then in 2013, how we had Mega Evolution get introduced and whatnot. Maybe in this show, by the time we get to like a season 2, if they decide to ever maybe go there, we could have whatever other new Pokemon ideas have been, again, introduced in the last couple seasons. This would be cool because for people like me who haven't played the recent games, who I guess have semi-outgrown Pokemon, it'd be really cool for people like me to be able to now go and watch this live action show and actually see, well, the Pokemon that I grew up with in Red, in the, you know, having the first gen, and then having him get the Mega Evolution that I'd also say I grew up with, and then introducing all the other stuff, whatever it might be, that I missed out on because I guess I grew past it, or I just don't exactly enjoy it anymore. Again, for who the cast and stuff is going to be, I'm not too sure. A lot of people have been fan casting Tom Holland in this role like you do. Tom Holland has been fan cast in every role from Ben 10 to I think maybe Spider-Man, that he became Spider-Man. I don't think anyone had him as Nathan Drake, but someone probably did, and I guess Sony saw it because they they decided to try and cook with it. I don't know if it worked, but again, we gotta remember, these Pokemon characters are supposed to be like 10-year-olds, right? I know we kind of forget about that, but technically these Pokemon characters are still supposed to be kids. And if they're gonna go down that way, it only makes sense to, I don't necessarily want to say hire a 10-year-old, because even though they were technically 10, they always looked more so like they were 13 to 15, right? So I don't know if they're going to change that in this show and just say, this is a 13 to 15-year-old. I think they personally should, because I think having a 10-year-old walk alone in the wild and whatnot is a weird thing to watch in live action that I'm not exactly too sure if that's what they're going to go with. But in terms of having a 13 to 15-year-old, I guess that makes more sense. You're getting more into the, obviously, adult territory there. And I think it'd be way easier to find a better actor, a good actor in, you know, that landscape of things. I don't think this particularly should be that hard for Pokemon live action to work. Again, Smosh made live action Pokemon videos and just had people in Pokemon costumes, and they were always funny and really entertaining. And I'm not saying that's what they should do. Of course, I think for the most part, all the Pokemon should probably be CGI or some type of high-tech puppet mechanism of some sort. I don't know. But there's ways you can keep this show cheaper. Again, just by having maybe Red walking through the forest and doing all that type of stuff. That's not exactly that hard to film. Again, I think probably the knack of having Pokemon for so long is just the expense of having a live action Pokemon is probably too much, that a lot of these companies don't want to see that. They don't want to do it because it just sounds too expensive. But in reality, I think there's only times where you're probably going to need a quarter of each episode to have major CGI of, you know, all of these Pokemon and whatnot. A lot of the fun about Pokemon is just having your character walk through jungles and walk through new, different, exciting landscapes. But again, in this show, you also have to have the real big feel of Pokemon. It's going to be really big on the set design. The set design has to be perfect, and it has to feel like we are in the Pokemon world. So again, I have some homework to do. I guess I definitely got to go and watch Detective Pikachu now. I don't know how I haven't seen it to this day, but the fact that we're getting a live action Pokemon show really does show that, or really does tell me I need to go and watch this movie for sure. But again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Are you guys excited for a potential live action Pokemon series, or do you guys just not care? Or are you scared they're even going to fail or mess it up? Again, sometimes Netflix cook, sometimes they don't. But yeah, again, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all does unfold. As I said, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.